Today, I want to talk about the OM system TG-7. It seems like nowadays there's an upward trend in the desire for small cameras. I mean, look at the hype that the Fujifilm systems have, or the Osmo Pocket 3, which is my favorite camera and actually the camera that revived my YouTube channel and the one that's recording this video right now. Also, you can take a look at all the recent announcements and releases from pretty much every manufacturer, including Canon's new releases, which is 3 small cameras. And in addition to this, some of the biggest creators on this platform are also making videos and content revolving small, portable, or point and shoot cameras, and with valid reasons. So here are my 3 reasons for seeking out small yet capable small cameras. Number 1 is obviously the size. I mean, they come in just the smallest package and you can pretty much fit them in any pocket. They're always with you, ready to go, and just the form factor alone makes it a no-brainer for having it with you all the time. Number 2 would be the bang for your buck, or what you get. Usually and typically these cameras tend to be cheaper than the alternative bigger brothers, full-frame DSLRs, or even crop sensor DSLRs. They tend to be much cheaper and much more attainable, especially in the used market, or if you're going vintage and searching for something like a 90s digicam or look or something like that, then you can get those for basically dollars. And number 3, I would say it has to be living in the moment. You know, there's a difference between shooting with intention and just snapping away at whatever unfolds in front of you. You have a camera that has a viewfinder and it's a bigger camera, and you have to really like pick it up and focus and compose your shot and shoot. You're shooting with intention. You're shooting with the desire of capturing a moment in a very specific way, which sort of sometimes might take you away from the reality that you're living the moment, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally perfect, and that's what photography pretty much is. But there's also something to be said about having something that's so simple, so minimalistic, so easy to use that you can just take it out without thinking. You don't even need a viewfinder. You just click it on, snap a couple of pictures. You capture that moment as it's unfolding in front of you. You don't pay it any mind, and you keep going, and you enjoy yourself and you enjoy your life. And you still keep the memories that you created because you had the camera and you shot the picture or took the video. I personally am a huge fan of small cameras because of their simplicity. Like I said, the Osmo Pocket 3 is my main YouTube camera. It's just a simple camera to use, to set up, to put on a tiny tripod. You just flick it on and it's ready to go. And I also own a bunch of other small point and shoot cameras, yet I still felt the need to get my hands on this OM system TG7. And let me tell you why. Waterproof, shockproof, essentially life-proof. But is it any good? I mean, at $499, I don't expect this camera to outperform my Nikon ZF. So let's keep it real here. This is a point and shoot camera. It's a small camera with a small sensor, delivering very good image quality, very good performance for what it is. I picked up this camera recently because I was going to go on a trip to Arizona with a friend of mine. We were going to do a motorcycle road trip and be out there for a couple of days just with backpacks on and whatever could fit inside them. So I knew I wanted to capture the trip, and I knew also I wasn't going to have any backspace for my bigger camera. So I started thinking and going down the list of which of my point and shoot cameras I wanted to take for this, but none of my point and shoot cameras that I owned at the time were weatherproof or life-proof. And because I didn't know the scenarios in which I would be finding myself in, or if it was gonna rain or not, I felt the need to seek out a camera that could withstand the elements. And I stumbled upon the OM system TG7, and I started looking at videos on it here on YouTube, and there wasn't many videos out there, and the ones that I found were pretty good at explaining what the camera was, but they lacked showing me any sort of good sample photos, I guess, or video. So I took a risk and I bought it. And let me tell you, I was pleasantly surprised with the images that I got. After that trip, I've kept using the camera to capture daily moments, family moments, and just really keep it with me every single day as an alternative to just my iPhone. And so far, it has continued to deliver in all fronts, but always keeping in mind what this camera is and what its limitations actually are. So with that said, let's go through its pros and cons. Let's start with the good stuff first. Let's go with the pros. Pro number one is, obviously, I said it before, the size. Super small. It can fit anywhere, it can fit in your pocket, and you can always have it with you. And because it's shockproof and waterproof and all that stuff, you don't have to be worried where you throw it, because it will pretty much withstand whatever beating it's gonna get in any bag or any pocket. Number two would be the zoom range. It does have a optical zoom. It's a 4.5 to 18 millimeter on their terms, and I'm not quite sure the exact size of the sensor, nor do I really care what it is, but I think it is something like a 24 to 100 millimeter in full frame terms. Number three, it shoots raw photos, which is a huge plus and something that would have made me not buy this camera if it didn't shoot raw photos. Now, it is 12 megapixels, so the files are not huge, which is both a pro and a con, because you can save some space in your hard drives and they're quicker and easier to load, and they do retain enough information there for you to push and pull and just get these images looking just the way that you like them. Number four, shockproof and waterproof. It's in the name. It just takes all the stress away from having a camera and taking care of it, or babying your camera, not wanting your camera to be near a body of water or getting knocked over by someone or anything like that. I'm not afraid of having this camera out, falling to the floor, and it has already fallen to the floor once or twice, perfectly fine. I've also tested it out at the beach near the water, taking some shots with it, taking photos that otherwise I wouldn't have taken or even dared to take if I didn't have a camera that could withstand being splashed or getting wet and all those things. So that is a huge plus for me and a great pro to this camera. And also, if you have a family and you have children, you're not gonna worry if they take it and they wanna use it and they wanna play around with it, and you can have their perspective, their point of view. And if they drop the camera, so be it, it'll be fine. And number five is that it actually has really good colors. I really like the colors that come out of this camera. I've compared the colors of this camera to my Sony RX100 Mark V, and I do prefer the colors that come out of this OM system TG7 to those Sony files. There's just something about them. I think they look a little bit more natural, and they just, to my eye, they look better. And now let's go to the cons. Like I said before, file sizes are pretty small, which is a good thing and a bad thing, but since we're talking about the cons, let's go with that. The fact that the files are 12 megapixels would be a con if you're trying to print your images or anything like that, or you tend to sell prints of the images that you make. You're gonna find a lot of limitations with a 12 megapixel file. If you're doing anything web-based, or if you're just posting on social media, or you're just capturing memories for yourself, you're gonna be just fine with this camera. Number two con is that it lacks the desired bokeh that people are after when they want to shoot professional looking photos, which for general purpose photography, for capturing moments, for emulating the film look or stuff like that, I don't really mind or care that it doesn't have bokeh, but there has been some instances where I can see myself just wanting a little bit more out of it. But it's the nature of the beast. It's a small camera with a small sensor, so you can't really expect much. Number three is the screen. Now, there's a lot to say about this screen, okay? The screen has this large protruding protective layer, glass, whatever it is, that is there to enhance the shockproof abilities of this camera. But it is also one of its cons. After owning this camera for only a short period of time, I noticed that there are micro scratches on this back panel. It doesn't really obstruct the usability of the camera, but I did expect it to be a little more scratch resistant than what it actually is. Talking about the screen, the visibility in direct sun is pretty atrocious. It's very hard to see what's in frame when you're in direct sun. Don't get me wrong, you can still frame your shots and you can still take your shots, but it's just a little difficult to see. Sort of like the Sony ZV-E1 screen. I don't know if you know or have used that camera, but if you're trying to use that camera outside in direct sun, that screen is also very terrible. And lastly, on my cons list, I would say it's the coating on the lens. I don't know what they used to coat this lens. It's very scratch resistant and it works just fine. However, there is a slight reddish hue in the flare when the sun hits it in a very specific way. I noticed it a couple of times when I was making pictures with this camera, and not that it bothers me terribly because it sort of gives you a certain look, but maybe that's not the thing that I want in all of my photos, or is it? I'm kind of still on the fence about it, but you know, I just had to mention it. Something else worth mentioning is that it is a modern camera, so autofocus performance is as you would expect. A crippling factor with every single small camera is always going to be battery life, and that always seems to be a complaint for everyone, is battery life. I haven't experienced any sort of issues or problems with the battery life of this camera, but I think it's mainly due to the way that I shoot my images. Usually when I'm out shooting, I turn the camera on right before taking a picture. I take the picture and then I proceed to turn the camera off and continue along. This greatly improves the battery life of any camera, and therefore I never had any issues with the battery life of this camera because it never gave out on me. As for video, well, it's there. I don't really think it's something that you're ever gonna use in a camera like this unless you're going for that retro digicam, shaky cam look. So yeah, it does take video. Is it any good? You can judge by these images. In the end, I totally dig this camera and the images I've been getting with it. It currently lives in my daily bag next to all my stuff, and it's always ready for whatever moment decides to pop up. And at least I know that rain or shine, I'll be ready. So those are all my thoughts regarding the OM System TG7, a wonderful camera worthy of anyone's use. But I have to ask, what do you think about this camera? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, consider subscribing to my channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.